Hi guys, Thogrey here for a new video, and this video will be a solo queue solo shuffle tier list video for 9.2. And I've played a lot of solo shuffle these days because I feel like the mode will get a ranked mode for 9.2.5 until the new expansion, of course. And I feel like if you can train right now and have an understanding on the meta, you will be in an advantage for next season, because I feel like solo queue has a future for World of Warcraft. I think it's the one future that needs to be upheld to have the World of Warcraft PvP experience to be enhanced. If it's solo shuffle or 6v6 BGs, I want something to exist for solo queue, and I feel like solo shuffle is in the right direction. So I've played a lot of solo shuffle these days, and I feel that I know the meta quite well. I know which classes are good, which classes are bad, which classes needs buffs for solo queue, even though I don't think they will balance those classes for solo queue specifically. But yeah, you will see a few classes in S plus and and few classes in C. Well, this tier list is without the tier sets, so I might remake a tier list for when the tier sets are out for everyone, and to actually enjoy those tier set bonuses in PvP. But you can predict a bit. There's a few classes that their tier sets are really not going to change anything. I'm thinking about Affliction Warlocks, and there are other tier sets that are actually changing the gameplay on a fundamental perspective, like for Assassination Rogues. So when they get their tier sets, their gameplay will change drastically. Might just be playing Night Fae because of it. So, let's start this tier list. This is purely for solo queue. 2v2, 3v3 for now is not on the menu because I need to enjoy more the 2v2, 3v3 scene to actually appreciate and have a better understanding. I feel like this season is way too soon to have a clear idea. Maybe in 1 or 2 weeks when the sets are out, you can have a better idea. But for solo queue, you can already tell which classes are performing or not. So we can start with Affliction Warlock. That's the class that I'm playing, the class that I've played the most since 9.2, and also in 9.1.5 I did play a lot of Affliction. And there's a few things that are hard for Affliction to perform, and it is actually you need communication to survive. Your kiting can do a lot, but if the healer doesn't know where you're going to kite or what they need to do to make you stay alive, then it's actually not that good, not a great class to play in solo queue, I would say. But again, same goes for the enemy team. They don't know when they need to dispel. They don't know how to react to a full dotted player. They might dispel one thing too much, and then they get critted for 30k. It's bye bye, you know. Especially with the double Lego that is going to come out next week. I feel like Warlock might be in a good spot, but I think Affliction, especially Affliction, is more of a A class spec. I wouldn't say B tier because people still don't know how to play versus a Warlock, but also the same goes as well for your team. Your team doesn't know how to play with a Warlock. So for me, it is the most average. I would say A is not really a average tier, but it is the most balanced class out of solo queue, because frankly enough you can die and your damage is not obnoxious when you're getting stopped, or if you're free to do damage then every class is going to be obnoxious. But 8 tier it is. Arcane Mage. Surprisingly, Arcane Mages, the ones that I saw in Solo Shuffle, are actually good because they don't get kicked that much. They get trained because it depends about the Solo Shuffle match. If you are playing with a lot of melees, then you will get trained 100%. But if you are Arcane Mage and you are lucky to play with an Elemental Shaman, or with a Warlock, or with a Fire Mage, or with a Frost Mage, or with a Boomy, anything that can cast, you pretty much have the opportunity to do a lot of damage. So that's why for me, it is not C tier, it is not A tier, it is between, it is average, but I think a good arcane mage can still do a lot of damage in solo shuffle. In contrary with 2v2 or 3v3, where having only one school of spells is a detriment. In solo shuffle, it is a bit different because you don't play versus perfect comms. You don't play versus a perfect communication. You don't play with the negatives that you have in 3v3 or 2v2. Your polymorphs are still deadly. So Arms Warrior. So Arms Warrior does quite good. They are very effective in solo shuffle. They do a lot of damage. People just don't know how to react to Moral Strike still, and they don't know how to react to a warrior that is actually playing defensive. You don't need to. You need to change targets. Sometimes the warrior does die by the sword. They are immune to physical damage for 8 seconds. Um, more or less. And people are still hitting the warrior, thinking that they are going to damage the warrior without thinking about the CDs. So I still think it's S tier. I think it is a MMR problem. I think once the MMR is higher, Arms Warrior would be a bit lower, maybe. And vice versa, if the MMR is quite low, I think the warrior will thrive to us S plus because the damage is just unhealable if you just let him loose, and it is quite a nasty class to play against, especially as a ranged class like Affliction Warlock. Assassination Rogue. So I played a lot of Assassination Rogue. I don't think it is OP. I don't think it is bad either. I still think you need a lot of setup to perform instead of a subtlety where you can shadow duel someone and then obliterate that guy in a shadow duel because no one reacts on it. So Assassination Rogue is for me A tier. I don't know if it's in front or behind the Warlock, but for now I'll put it in A tier. It is a great class to play. It is squishy as hell. So again, you're going to get obliterated if your healer is not doing the job that needs to be done for a DPS to survive. But you can play a lot of special specs that actually gives you instant damage. But again, depends on your playstyle. For me, it's a 8 tier spec. BM Hunters. I still think BM is a very good class in solo queue because it is easy to pull off. You can think on a lot of things instead of your rotation. They have like only 3 spells to press to do damage. I'm more exaggerating, but it's feeling like that when I'm playing versus a BM. And people are not focusing your pets, while in 3v3 or in 2v2, what I do as a Affliction Warlock, if I feel like the BM is not playing aggressive enough, I go around the corner, I kill the pet, and then they are kind of screwed because 50% of their damage is gone. So BM Hunters in solo queue is a S tier spec, I think, in front of Warriors, because it is easy to pull out. They have a lot of damage. They are enjoyable to play in solo queue, more enjoyable than, for example, in 2s where it is snooze fest, and more and less enjoyable than in 3s for in jungle cleave because you don't have that much CC tools because people are just breaking your freezing traps all the time. People think, yeah, I'm going to AoE anyways and do some cleaving damage, while as a BM hunter you try to pull out some pressure with your freezing traps. So Demonology Warlock, they are S tier, purely because people don't react to CDs in solo shuffle for now. At least the MMR seems low for me. People just don't react to decimating bolts and then demon bolts, and it will be even worse next week with double legendaries if people are still playing those two legendaries together. I don't think they will do though, because it's quite annoying to spam shadow bolts to improve your demon bolts. But yeah, it's a good spec. It is durable. It doesn't need that much attention from the healer, since a lot of the damage is transferred to the pet too, and Dark Pact helps you a lot, plus the portals, plus the TP. You have a lot of possibilities to survive as a Demonology Warlock, more than Affliction, and the instant damage that they can provide with the Disseminating Bolt, Legendary, and the Demon Bolts, you can pretty much one-shot people if they are not playing correctly. So Destruction Warlock, they are B tier. I'm going to say B tier for the reason that they lack the comp decision, I would say. If you are playing with a melee in your team and you're playing versus two melees, you are going to have a rough time. If you are playing with a caster like a Frost Mage and the enemy team has a caster or double melee or whatever, then you have an easier time because you have two casters. You have a Frostbolt machine and then you have your damage machine that is a Destruction Warlock. But without that, your experience is quite shit. I mean, and again, a healer needs to be able to heal your Warlock, and Destruction Warlocks are one of the hardest specs to heal because they are so immobile, they need to cost a lot. They are pretty much silenced at least 50% of the time, interrupted 50% of the time, CC'd 50% of the time because people just stop your casters with CC, with stuns, freezing traps, whatever they can do to stop your casting, they will do that. Especially DHs, which is obnoxious, like they have a silence and then they do their double stuns and then banish and then you can be silenced again. Sometimes it feels like you are not casting for 20 seconds, except if you're doing conflags and shadow burns, but then again, where is the damage? So Destruction Warlock B tier because Affliction is a lot easier to play in Solo Shuffle, and of course Demonology is the better spec because of their instant damage that they can provide to the for the team at least. Disc Priest. I feel like Disc Priest, with their amount of CDs they can provide, they are on a good spot in Solo Shuffle. I think the only issue I see with Disc Priest, they are a trained machine, I would say. So people will just go on Disc Priest and try to train them to death. Once pain suppression is gone, barrier is gone, they are pretty much dead. So I think that's the thing that holds them back, is their survivability. In contrary with a Holy Priest, which has Greater Fate, they can jump into the sky, they can Holy Ward themselves, they can even revive in solo queue, which is obnoxious to play against, but that's their gimmick. So Disc Priest for me it's A tier because I don't feel like healers are really that low in Solo Shuffle, especially with the queue times. You need to encourage those healers to actually queue them games, and I hope with solo queue, the ranked form, I think healers will appreciate a little bit more to heal in those games. For now, the reward is not that impressive. So Elemental Shaman, I think they are really slept on. Especially with the double legendary, it will be obnoxious to play against. And for me, at the moment, Elemental Shaman is a STO spec. I know you're trying to say, whoa, Elemental Shaman's S tier. Why? Because they need to cast a lot. They are trained a lot. They are squishy outside of the CDs. They are really cast heavy. I know. Calm down. I think the thing with Elemental Shaman, they have a lot of builds to play. If you see that you are going to get trained, you pull out the Earth Shield legendary. You put it on yourself. And then as a second legendary, you play your Covenant legendary, for example, next week. You will have the damage from the Covenant legendary, which gives you haste, and I think crit. I think only haste. And when you're playing Necrolorda. And you have your Earth Shield legendary, which gives you the healing potential for yourself to actually survive. Or if you're playing versus a team that is not going to train you, you pull out those DPS legendaries with the Covenant legendary, and then you can blow up people. So you have a lot of variety of how you can play your class, and that's actually a positive. Not a lot of classes can do that. But for example, Warlocks, what can they change to actually perform better if they are trained or not? There is nothing they can change. Nothing. Legendaries, they're pretty much locked on the Drain Life legendary with the Soul Rot legendary if they're playing Affliction. They are pretty much locked on all the talents. They are pretty much locked on every PvP talent because you have like 2 mandatory PvP talents, and then you have your third PvP talent that is actually also mandatory, except if you're playing another build. But that other build doesn't make you stronger, they doesn't make you weaker either. It's a different playstyle. It doesn't change anything on the outcome of the game. It doesn't change anything on the ability to get trained or not trained. While the Elemental Shaman has the ability to change that. So that's for me a S tier spec because they have the variety that needs to be that you need to have in solo queue. So Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman is actually very strong in Solo Shuffle. Why? Because people are not coordinated and they don't know how to shut down a hybrid healer. I think hybrid healers are in general very good. So for me, it is a S tier spec, but on the lower side. Let me explain. People don't react as well on CDs. If you're playing Doomwinds, people will not disarm you from the get-go, except if you are in a higher MMR, but that will come maybe next patch when they have actually an MMR system. People will not react on your CDs. They don't react on your healing, your off healing. You have actually good tools to help your healer to survive. That's the thing. Enhancement Shaman, I think they are the best partner you can have when you're playing solo shuffle. If you're a warlock, maybe a little bit less, but if you're a warrior, you have enhancement, you are directly a turbo cleave. You are enhanced and you play with a BM hunter, you're directly a beast cleave. You're playing with another elemental, no problem. You have double grounding, double that shock totem that makes that you cannot leave the zone. There's a lot of things that you can do as a shaman to be super useful, and I think shaman is in a right spot for solo shuffle in general. So it's not a surprise. I think feral druids are a A tier spec at the moment. They are better than Affliction, but I feel like they don't have the instant damage, except if they are going Night Fae. If they are going Night Fae, I think they are better than Necrolord, especially for next patch. Since again, the coordination of the people that you are playing against and with are very minimal. So except if you are very good and you are aware for a lot of things, then you can stop like the Night Fae Convoke, for example. But other than that, what happens? You stun the healer, you convoke, it's directly a trinket. Nobody will try to stop you from the DPS side, because DPS will just go in to the other DPSs or the other healer. While you are convoking, that healer will trinket, then you have a convoke in 1 minute again. You stun that healer again, you convoke, they are pretty much dead at that point. And also, let's not forget, they trinket, but they also probably will use CDs to survive. So Fire Mage S+, they have sick survivability. They are super annoying to deal with. They have Combust, which is not stoppable if you are not popping CDs or trinkets. Yeah, I mean, Fire Mages are really, really strong in Solo Shuffle. I'm not going to ask for a nerf, because basically that's their whole gimmick from Shadowlands. It's only Combust and only Combust. So if you're nerfing Combust, pretty much they are nothing. If you nerf Combust, they are pretty much C tier. But since they are a Combust machine and they have the possibility to survive a lot of shit because of time, alter time, and because of shields, because of ice block, because of blinks, anything, a shimmer, excuse me, you can survive a lot of shit, which means that you are automatically a little bit better than other classes, because other classes needs a lot more healing, a lot more attention, while a Fire Mage, like, if you're going to compare Fire Mage with Destruction Warlocks, it's kind of laughable how Fire Mage can be that proficient versus a Destruction Warlock, which is the whole gimmick of a Destruction Warlock is to destruct people, you know. And actually, at the moment, you're only destructing your keyboard because you're frustrated to get CC'd and to get interrupted. So whatever. Frost DK, I think Frost DK are in the right spot, but they are very squishy. So it's an A tier spec. I think better than Assassination Rogue. Issue, they are very squishy. You will destrike a lot, and again, it depends about your healer if you're going to survive or not. But when you're going to pop CDs, like damage CDs, you will not get stopped as much as in 3s or in 2s, because people will not react on it with a disarm or with CDs that they are going to pop for other classes or other buffs, you know. So Frost DK are a hidden gem for now, but I just hope they can buff a bit of survivability, because in 3s and 2s it's the same problem, you know. And also that they can change that 1 minute class, you know. They need to change a few things and make it not a 1 minute class anymore, because warriors are not a 2 minute or 1 minute class. They are a class. And what Frost Decay is actually a 1 minute class, and that's actually terrible to play with. Frost Mages, it's the same problem as Destruction Warlock. It depends if you have a caster or not. But they are better because they can survive. I think they are better than Frost Decay. The issue is they need to cast a lot, so it depends if you're going to play with a caster, against a caster, with a melee, or against melees. So, but with the builds that you have in disposal, you can do a lot of damage if you're left unchecked. But what you will see when you're playing Frost Mage is that you are going to get trained like age 24. So yeah, it depends about how you like it. I think the Frost Mages will just play Fire Mage because it's a lot easier. And Arcane Mages will still play Arcane Mage because it's very niche. People just play Arcane Mage because they like it and not because of its OP. And Frost Mage is a bit the same boat, but I think it's a lot closer to Fire Mage's core gameplay. So that's why, yeah, I feel like it deserves an A tier. So Fury Warriors, very interesting, very strong. I think the damage is quite unhealable if you're not reacting to it, but they are squishy. Like, they have no CDs to stop any incoming damage. They have only like a wall on a 2-minute CD, I think, of 1 minute 30 if you get the conduit, and the duration is so low that you're not going to have full value of it. Especially the um, the anti-healing aspects of arenas, the dampening is kicking right off the get-go. So your healing, your defensive is healing, is not working like intended. So I don't like to put it on B tier because I feel like it's stronger. Like I would say damage-wise it is S plus because you're going to blow people up, but like defensive-wise it is even C tier is not low enough for them. So for me it's B tier. But I feel like it's more A tier, but I'm putting B tier because their defense is really non-existent. Like, I think they have more chances to survive just by running away than by popping CDs, and that is really a problem for a warrior. That is not the class fantasy that you want, to leap away to try to survive the incoming damage. I mean, come on, man. It's a Fury warrior. They need to be on point, get healed, that can also heal themselves, try to survive. Give Die by the Sword to Fury Warriors, man. Is it that hard? I mean, they have 2 weapons and they have no Die by the Sword. That's so weird. Whatever. I'm not going to rant on Fury Warriors, one of my favorite classes, but whatever. Holy Paladin. I think they are S+. I think the thing is with Holy Paladins, they have a lot of CDs to be annoying. Like a lot of CDs. I mean, their healing is not impressive because they need to cast a lot. And okay, you can cast Word of Glory and other shit like Holy Shock, but I think the most OP thing to face versus a Holy Paladin is the same as a Holy Priest. It is the annoyance of CDs, the annoyance to actually deal with all those CDs. Double Bop, Divine Shield. They have a wall. They have they have multiple freedoms. They have a sacrifice, ultimate sacrifice. I mean, how can I forget about that? That's actually all the things combined. Plus Necrolord shield. If they are playing Necrolord, they are super durable and they are super annoying to deal with. Yes, they can die into a stun, but then again, it needs coordination to actually pull out the one-shot potential to a Holy Paladin, because if you're not going to one-shot them, they are going to Divine Shield, or they're going to Bop, or they're going to Ultimate Sacrifice, whatever. They can heal those things correctly and also survive correctly. So S+. I know it's probably controversial, but I think Solo Shuffle is probably the best or environment for Holy Paladin. And not 3s or 2s, but Solo Shuffle, because of the annoyance of their cities, they could as well be above Fire Mage for me. Especially when I'm playing Affliction Warlock, I just hate those Divine Shields. And if I'm playing a Frost Decay, then it's even worse with their buffs. It's actually terrible. So, Holy Priest, the best Solo Shuffle class. A good Holy Priest, they can have like 2 lives, and I think the play is to not focus the Holy Priest. Or you focus, they put CDs on the wrong target, on themselves or on the DPS, and then you switch, because if you're going to train the priest, again, if they play the legendary, which they should, they will just survive. they will come out. They have like multiple chances every time, and that's maybe the play to do if you're a Holy Priest. So DH S plus, I don't care. Necrolord too strong. They can heal themselves even more than in general because they have more opportunities. Okay, it's random. If you don't have a demon, then you have no covenant. But still, I mean, the damage is insane. It has no preparation. I mean, if I'm playing Affliction, I'm playing versus DH. I feel like it's hopeless because you're going to slow them, you're going to kite them, but it still do a lot of damage just by full rushing you. I mean, they need to change something from DH because that's the most noob-friendly class I have ever seen. I don't even need to play it to even understand because I know that when I'm pulling out that details, I only see 3 damaging abilities, then a lot of passives that are tied to those 3 abilities. I mean, that's quite insane. I mean, I have no words. So DH, they are even better than Fire Mages for me. I might be biased because I play Affliction, but it's so terrible, man. They have a reverse magic. They have so many tools. They have the kiting potential. They have self healing. They have a darkness. If they are a good DH, they can darkness before a go and not when the go has happened. Then it's too late because it's an RNG spell. But that RNG spell is super annoying to deal with. So again, the difference between a good DH and a bad DH is very minimal, but that minimal means the world. Like the defensives, like Blur and Darkness. If they pull out the Blur and the Darkness at the right timing, it just destroys every go. Like if you see a Fire Mage pop Combust, Darkness or Blur, it's not hard. It's actually not hard because after the Combust, you will win. I know it's annoying to get Novad. I know it's annoying to get Feared, but they can reverse magic all the dots away towards me when I'm bursting. Anyways, DH. Marksman Hunter. It is A tier. It is. It could be S plus if you're not focusing it, but I think everyone has now the experience to actually focus the marksmanship hunter. It's actually, if you're not focusing the marksmanship hunter, then you're doing something wrong. So, marksmanship hunter 8 tier. The video is very long, but I feel like I need to make this video as long as I can because I want to explain every decision of mine. I see I've put nothing in C tier, but it will happen. It will happen, I think. Or maybe not. So, Boomkin. Boomkin is S plus for me. It is super annoying to kill, super annoying to actually deal with it. They have Cyclone, which doesn't get broken by damage, so you don't have to deal with the problems from BM hunters. You can just Cyclone the off target. You're good, especially the healers, because people are not noticing when their healer are in CC. So they are very strong. They are going to play Convoke, so it's even worse in solo queue, like the same as Feral. If they are not going to get stopped and someone gets obliterated, they have a good natural defense ability to actually survive melees and to survive casters. They have kiting, they have healing, they have everything, so it's S plus. Very good. Monks. It's B tier. I know I've said that I put no one else below A tier, but Mistweaver monks, they don't have the damage to actually surprise anyone. Their CC, they have like 3 CCs, and 2 from them gets broken by damage. Paralyze and the Song of Chiji that you are not going to play because you need that Ring of Peace. So still, and you have the leg sweep, which is good, but you need to get in melee, and then you get in like in danger. So I like Mistweavers. I play Mistweaver, but it is a B tier until they change something with the damage that they can provide to the team because it's not enough. Touch of Death is nice. That's it. Outlaw. I feel like Outlaw is not as strong in Solo Shuffle. It has damage, but that's it. I mean, the CC is quite nice, but then again, do you have the time to CC? Your survivability is quite nice, but you have only consistent damage. The burst is not here. The burst, in comparison with a Sublety or in comparison with Assassination Rogue, it is just not here. So I'm going to put it on B tier. I think still in front of everyone because it's still a rogue, but I don't think it deserves the assassination treatment. So Restoration Druids, they are. I've, I play Restore Druid at the moment, and I feel like my healing is very bad. So I don't know if it's because of I'm going haste instead of mastery, or if I'm doing something wrong. But I'm going to put it in S tier. I think I'm going to have a lot of slack for it. But I feel like it doesn't survive as much as Holy Paladins. It does survive with kiting, but when you're kiting, you're not going to heal anything, and you have like tranquility, like bubble. I will put it in S plus, but at the lowest part because still I think Holy Priest and Paladin are better. But I still think it is probably better than Resto Shaman since Resto Shaman is S tier for me. They don't have immunity, they need to cast a lot, they have totems which are not going to get broken in Solo Shuffle because nobody is actually communicating, but a Resto Shaman doesn't have a lot of agency healing wise. Damage wise, they are very good. They can provide the damage that is needed to kill someone, but they don't have the survivability of a Holy Priest, of a Holy Paladin, and a Resto Druid. And let me remind you, solo queue is about surviving since the first one to die loses. It's not going to have a comeback mechanic to those 2v3s that you can see. That's not happening, so that's why it's S tier. Retri Paladin S+. Again, same conclusion as Holy Paladin. That's still better than Holy Paladin. They have bubbles, they have bop, they have freedom, they have great uber damage, they have good CDs. They don't suffer as much as in 3s or in 2s because people are not organized. If they see wings, they still stay with you and then you die and you don't understand why. If you should. He got wings, he got the damage, you got dead. So anyways, Retri Paladin, very good, very strong. Although I prefer to play versus a Retri Paladin than a DH as an Affliction, purely because they don't remove my dots with a reverse magic every minute. But and sometimes they play that stupid PvP talent that when they judge, they put out judgment, they dispel it themselves, so they might get credit for 30k. So I like to play against. So Shadow Priest, they have very strong defensive capabilities. They have very strong CDs. If they play mind games, they are actually super annoying to deal with when you're a healer. And when they play Necrolord, they have that instant dot plus mage that appears. So you have two different playstyles, depends on how you want to play. But I still think mind games is a super good spell to actually press in Solo Shuffle. And in an environment where people just don't dispel at the right time, or they dispel something too much or anything, then you have like an open game for you guys. So S Priest, S tier. Sublety Rogues, S+. The ability to actually shadow duel makes all the difference. Yes, you're squishy. Yes, your damage is on CDs, and outside of that, you're nothing. But the CDs come so fast up, and the shadowy duel changes everything in the gameplay that you actually are going to kill a lot of people that are not prepared. If they have no CDs, no trinket, and you have your 7 seconds kidney ready, you're just shadow duel kidney. They're dead. They are not going to survive for 7 seconds, especially if the druid or the healer in front of you is not reacting with a AoE heal or AoE CC or whatever. You have a free game. Survival Hunter. S plus, but the lowest. They are squishy. They have damage. I'm also thinking about the tier sets that is very strong. They don't have the same issues as in trees because the lack of coordination makes it a bit more slippery for the survival. But I think in higher MMR, survival just goes down because of the ability of to die outside of turtle is very high. I still think Feign Death is very strong versus any caster, any debuff that you can have. So that's why survival merits the S tier spot. So Unholy DK. I play Unholy. For me it's B tier. Just dies too quickly versus melee. And okay, casters, they are anti-casters, but it is not a caster meta. So you can say they could be, but they are not at the moment. So for me, at the moment, B tier until caster meta comes, then Unholy DK might be even S tier, you know. But for now, B tier. They die way too quickly. Their damage is not fast enough to have an impact in slow shuffle. Okay, your AoE damage is very nice. Your if you're going to see the match when it ends, your overall DPS is going to be very high, but it's not punchy, so it's going to be lost into the shuffle, and the DPS is not going to be valuable. Windwalkers are S tier. I would say behind the Demonology. They are very squishy. They are very squishy. They have on-demand damage. That's why they are S tier. They can be surprisingly very strong offensively, but defensively they are going to get blown up. So depends about your healer, depends about your comp on the comp you're playing against. It could be very well S plus, as could also be very well A tier. They are very strong versus warriors because they can parry Moral Strike, for example. If you're parrying at the right time, you're going to screw that warrior, but still. At the age is just a lot stronger at this very moment, and for me it's the same genre of class. So this is my tier list. So I've deleted the C tier row because I still think no class deserves the C tier in solo queue because all classes can actually do something in solo queue. Although let's be honest, Arcane Mages is probably the worst class for solo queue. I still think they have a fair shot because people are not coordinated as they are in 3s or in 2s. So this is my tier list. Thank you for watching this video. Please comment below what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel because it helps me a ton. More than you know. This is kind of a hobby for me, but it is really an enjoyable hobby, and I want to make the people around me happy with the videos that I'm put out, and also the knowledge that I could give to the people that I also can share it with you guys. So thank you for watching, have a great day, and see you very soon. Bye.